Hey guys, it's Paul. So we're quarantined still, and I was looking through one of the boxes of commons over there, trying to find actually good cards. It's a common thing around here. And I decided that I would pick out some of the cards that interested me. So there's 7 of them. Don't ask why I picked 7. That's just all I really found, and I thought to make the video. So yeah, when you're looking through Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it's like, there's always stuff that's good. Like, oh, I saw an Alistair in my box of bulk. I need to pull that out or something. Or like some staple like a Cosmic Cyclone or whatever. But there are cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That kind of are just pack filler and they sort of tend to just get overlooked. So some of them are interesting to me. Obviously, none of these cards are great. They're not going to change the meta or anything like that. Nothing crazy. But I thought I'd bring them up because I'm sure you guys have looked through packs too and found these cards and thought like, this has potential. So, all right, I'm gonna shut up and actually show the first card, which is Watt Kinetic Puppeteer. So, this guy is cool. He's got a quick effect where you can actually pitch him from your hand and then you can move, actually you can send him from your hand or your field, but probably doesn't come up that much. And you can move one of your opponent's monsters to another main monster zone. Now, this is actually pretty cool. As you can see, he's not, a bad card just in terms of stats. I mean, he's got 1800 attack. It's kind of the opposite of your traditional hand trap. And the effect's a quick effect. So basically, this is a hand trap, if you think about it. Now that we're in Master Rule 5, his effect's probably not as good since people don't have to have link arrows and stuff like that. But the way that I see it is being able to move a monster around, like moving a link monster in a strategic way so that your opponent gets no arrows from it, could be really cool. Like if a link monster points left or right, and you could put it all the way to the left or all the way to the right so that your opponent can't, get the benefit of those arrows. And this could still be pretty relevant for a link strategy or something like that. Also, it could be good, sort of, for like stopping Mech Knights, for instance. You've got things like Mech Knight, Indigo Eclipse, that can move left and right. And so what they'll do is like they'll get some cards in a column and like summon Indigo Eclipse, move it left or right, and then like summon another Mech Knight there. But imagine if you use Watt Kinetic Puppeteer and then moved it right back there and that stops them. Obviously this isn't a huge thing. This would be a pretty niche combo stopping card. I don't feel like it's not going to be like a plus or anything. Like it's not like Ash Blossom or Ghost Ogre or Effect Veiler where like you're outright shutting a card down. But in a few small scenarios, this could be neat. So I thought it would be a fun one. Okay, the next card is Xyz Slide Dolphin. Now this is actually pretty cool. This is actually a card that somebody on our Discord server, shout out to the Team APS Discord server, link in the description, you should definitely join it. It's pretty cool for like Xyz based decks, and I think it didn't get a lot of attention because it came out in like Dark Neostorm, which was in the middle of Master Rule 4, so cards like this just weren't very good, but let me read it actually myself. I read it once. So if an Xyz monster is special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if an Xyz monster is special summoned to your field while it's in your graveyard, then you can target one of your Xyz monsters and attach it to it as a material. So yeah. This is useful for a number of reasons. So if you're playing a Xyz Toolbox deck, then anytime you make an Xyz monster, you summon an Xyz Slide Dolphin, he's level 4, so rank 4 toolboxes can always use a few more level 4 monsters. And then, even when it's in your grave, if you make another Xyz monster, it can like attach as material. And as we know, a lot of Xyz monsters want more material. They want to have the ability to use their effects more often. Castel, Silent Honor Arc, Exiton Knight, those types of cards might start to become valuable again and more standard in this new Master Rule. So what I'm hoping is that maybe a card like Xyz Slide Dolphin could make a difference. Now, obviously it doesn't belong to any particular archetype, so I can see why it would be just at most a niche tech card, but like, could be worse. Anyway, all right, that's it for Xyz Slide Dolphin. Next monster is Mystric Holder. Now, this is another kind of new card, and it's neat. So the thing with this is when it's normal summoned, normal or special summoned, you can discard a card, and depending on what type of card you discarded, you get an effect. So if you discarded a monster, then you get to get a trap card from your grave to your hand. You discard a spell, you're able to get a monster from your deck to your hand, and if you discard a trap, then you get a spell from your graveyard to your hand. So, sorry if I said that wrong, but you can read it. So anyway, this is really cool actually. I could see this being extremely useful in different combo decks, for instance, because like sometimes you will want to get a monster back and you'll have like just searched a spell or a trap or whatever, and so you could pitch it and like get the monster and so on and so forth, or maybe reuse a spell or reuse a trap. There's a bit of an issue though. There's always a but. So she's level 5, and level 5, you know, you can't normal summon her. If you can normal summon her and use this effect, this would be absolutely incredible, but it's not, so you have to tribute summon her, but you can also get that effect if she's special summoned. And she's a spellcaster, so it's not terribly difficult to special summon spellcasters. There are ways, obviously like something like Magical Dimensions is a little bit dated, but I mean, I feel like I'm trying to think, I feel like I'm missing like some really obvious way to summon a spellcaster. Someone's gonna point out in the comments. But yeah, this could be a good card. It's also got really good artwork. So yeah, I thought I'd point this out. Also, 2400 defense for some reason, so.
What about that one card that summons a monster that's a level higher but the same type?
Oh, what? It's funny because it's a spoiler for like another card I'm about to show. Well, you guys will see. Okay, next card is Herald of the Abyss. So this actually, I think, got a little wee bit of attention for a while. I remember people were kind of picking it up. It didn't actually see much competitive play, but like it was interesting. So you pay 1,500 life points and you declare a monster type and attribute, and then your opponent has to send a matching monster from their field to the graveyard. Also, for the rest of the turn, they can't use that monster's effects or any effects of the monster with that name. So this is pretty neat for a few reasons. You guys might remember why cards like Share the Pain are very valuable. With Share the Pain, you make your opponent tribute a monster after you tributed one, and it was a good way to get rid of a card like, say, Masterpiece, or a card like Cleafort Towers, that are like supposed to be immune to spells and traps, so because you're making your opponent do the sending or your opponent do the tributing or whatever, it gets around it. So it can be a good way to out those sort of Towers type boss monsters. I think that's really cool. Now, the 1,500 life point costs a little bit strict. Also, in today's climate, I feel like this is going to get negated. Imagine if this card said something like it can't, your opponent can't chain to its activation, so just force them to send something at the cost of 1,500 life points. Wonderful. It does stop the monster itself from like being used afterwards. So if the monster has a graveyard effect, this will shut that down for the turn. And they can't, use any other effects that that monster might have had in the hand or something like that for the rest of the turn. So it's pretty cool. It's just shy of being useful. Either, I think two things. Either A, it could be a quick play spell or trap, or quick play spell, a quick play spell, because that'd be wonderful. You could use it in your opponent's turn. It could be a really good combo disruptor and removal thing. Or just if it has to be spell speed 1, it should not be able to, like your opponent shouldn't be able to respond. That'd be cool. It'd be like Dark Ruler No More. But anyway, okay, next card is this. This is what made me think of what you were saying. This isn't actually the card. This is Downbeat. It's the opposite of the other card, which the name I'm forgetting. What is that card? Like it levels up the monster? Transmodify. That's what it is. Okay. So, yeah, anyways, this is the opposite of Transmodify. You tribute a monster and you special summon a monster from your deck that's got the same type and attribute but is 1 level lower. So all the reasons that basically you would use Transmodify on something, like I remember Transmodify got used a lot in Infernities, Fire Fists, Agents, Zombies, Burning Abyss, things like that. I mean, I guess you could technically like use it here for the same purposes, except you'll be leveling down, which is like sometimes good and like sometimes not. I don't know. I mean, this is one of those things you have to get creative with it. It doesn't belong to an archetype, but many archetypes do have monsters of like differing levels. In fact, that was a big thing in the last few years. Things like Gokis and Trickstars and Altergeist all have like a level 1 and a level 2 and a level 3 and a level 4. So Downbeat could be useful for purposes like that. But I don't know. I mean, I see why it's very situational, and it's got a hard once per turn. So like, the fact that it's not searchable and then you combine it with that just makes it tough to use. But you can see the potential there. So like, there's something to be had. Anyways, now I've got 2 traps before I'm done. The first one is this really weird trap called Mamamaki or Mami Maki or something like that. So you target one of your opponent's monsters and you discard cards equal to that monster's level. Then you draw the same number of cards you discarded. Then you bounce the monster back to your opponent's hand. All right, first things first, I know what you're thinking. Why not just play compulsory evacuation device? And you're completely right. But because this is more focused on just potential, this is cool. It can be a form of monster removal that actually fixes an entire hand. Like imagine if your hand sucks and you just have this set and you bounce some troublesome monster and then you get to discard 4 cards and draw 4 new cards. Like that could be useful. There are issues, of course. Like most of the troublesome monsters that you would want to bounce with this are probably going to be higher level monsters, like level 7 or 8. It's all like you're going to have 7 or 8 cards in your hand to discard. So that's a bit of a pitfall. But on the other hand, I mean, there are some annoying level 4 and like 3 monsters, and that could disrupt a combo. So there's something there. And yeah, okay, maybe just play compulsory evacuation device anyway. But the last card is Ballista Squad. Now this reminds me of something like Raigeki Break or Paleozoic Deinonymiscus. You tribute one of your monsters, and then you target one of your opponent's cards, and you destroy it. So a pretty plain effect. There's not much to this. The first thing that came to mind for me was Layer of Darkness strategies, where you can like tribute your opponent's own monsters to then get more like pops and stuff out of the deal. But I guess if that's the case, there's probably better cards to be doing, like the virus cards or something. But the fact that you contribute a monster could be useful. I could see this being useful in a Rika deck, because they want to tribute their cards. They don't actually have any forms of removal in that deck besides the one boss monster. So it could be kind of useful for that. And because you don't have to discard, it means that you can actually, use your monster and like attack with it and then tribute it. This type of thing in older Yu-Gi-Oh! Would have actually been like pretty good. Like 10 years ago, which is so weird to say, but like 10 years ago, this would have been probably seen as like a borderline staple. I don't know. I mean, it's very versatile. Raigeki Break and like Karma Cut and Phoenix Wing Wind Blast all were. So technically, it's not far off from them. It is a -1, but like, things could be worse. But yeah, so those are the cards that I found. I thought all of these were just neat. In Yu-Gi-Oh, there are a lot of cards like this. None of these are fantastic. If we're being honest, you shouldn't play any of them and just keep them in your box or whatever. But hey, you stayed here for however long this video is, so that's where you guys come in. Let me know in the comments, what cards do you have like this? We've all been through these comments boxes. Have you ever just pulled something out and been like, this could be cool? In some world, in some alternate universe where, decks aren't putting up 5 negates and going +10, could some of these cards be useful? Let me know. I'd like to hear it. Oh, and if you liked this playmat that I showed here, it's from Imperium Duelist. You can get it from their website and use the code APS10. You get a 10% discount. Okay, I think I'm actually done here. So thumbs if you liked the video, subs if you loved the video. Check out the skit that we dropped yesterday. Hopefully you guys liked that. It was a good time to make. And that's going to be it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Pass turn.